Today we're looking at Israel, God's timepiece. Jesus spoke about her as being like a fig tree budding at the end time. In Revelation chapter 10, verse 1, we see in our day there would be another mighty angel coming down, and that is Christ. Christ has appeared in our generation, expressed this with the book open, and that there would be 7 thunders uttered in our day. Revelations 10:7 speaks about our season, and that there would be days when the voice of the 7th angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets. Where are we at in time? God has appeared in our generation. A mighty angel has come. The 7th angel has brought his message. Where are we living at now? We're living in Revelations 10, verse 8 to 11. John was a type of every true believer that is eating the word and eating the book for our hour, the message that God has delivered to us. Revelations chapter 10, verse 11 says, He said unto me, Thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings. The bride is being gathered from all over the world in the Gentile race. But we find ourselves in Revelations 11, after the bride leaves, that God is going to come through 2 prophets, 2 messengers. And we see that in Revelations chapter 11. Verse 3, we find, I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days. That's 3.5 years. So we see when the bride is gone that Moses and Elijah are going to appear on the earth. You say, how do you know that that's Moses and Elijah? We see that in chapter 11, verse 4, 5, and 6, where these 2 olive trees, 2 candlesticks that would be before God. And if any man would hurt them, fire would proceed out of their mouth and devour their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. Verse 6 speaks about these have power to shut the heavens, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy. Wasn't this like Elijah in the Old Testament? And it goes on to say, and they have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. Wasn't this like Moses in the scripture? So we see Moses and Elijah coming to the country of Israel and to the 144,000. Verse 7 to 10 speaks about how that those that are alive are going to kill Moses and Elijah, and that their dead bodies would lie in the street of that great city. And he's speaking about Jerusalem. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies for 3 days. So we see how the world will hate them and kill Moses and Elijah. But we see in verse 10 that they that dwell upon the earth will rejoice over them and make merry. This is after they are killed. And shall send gifts one to another, because these 2 prophets tormented them. How could the whole world know and then be sending gifts to one another? I believe it would just be like modern television and social media, how it can be spread all over the world in a matter of seconds and minutes, that this would be known throughout the whole world that Moses and Elijah is dead. But the scripture does not stop there. In verse 11 it says, after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of God, the life of God, shall enter into them, and they shall stand upon their feet, and great fear will fall upon them which saw them. And they heard a great voice from heaven, saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up into heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. Moses and Elijah are going to be resurrected and then ascend up into heaven. This is God appearing back to the Jewish race. Aren't we living in incredible times? When we see a tribulation will follow immediately in that season and fall upon the whole earth. Where will the bride be at this time? They're going to be at the marriage supper of the Lamb. For those years and that time that the bride is away and judgment is being poured out upon the earth. I want to encourage you today to find your place in the scripture. If you're a Gentile, God is preparing a rapture people around this globe that will be taken away. And then he will appear to the Jewish race and the 144,000, 12,000 out of each of the 12 tribes. God bless you today as you fulfill and find your place in the Scripture.